Welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today we have a food-filled day plan. We're gonna be hopping around to 3 different restaurants that are serving your traditional and not so traditional Sri Lankan favorites. So the first place we're gonna go to is kind of a cheaper fast food place, followed by a kind of middle of the class cafe, and then lastly, a more fine dining Sri Lankan fusion restaurant here that's very popular. Anyways, guys, I am excited to try all this food out, so let's go. All right, guys, so we are at the first restaurant here, and it is called Hotel de Plaza. And it's sort of a kind of fast food restaurant that's a drive-in. So you can come stop on the road here like we are doing and then order food. He'll come up here and take our order and then even bring it on a plate into our car so we can eat it. So they basically serve all your like Sri Lankan street food classics like kottu and stuff like that, but we're here to try the egg and cheese roti, which is something they are very popular for. All right, guys, so we just ordered a cheese and egg roti with some chicken and then also a Milo dinosaur. But let's go check out the inside of the restaurant while we wait. And there's the sign if you want to look for it. It's on Galle Road in Colombo here. Just got a bunch of roast chicken, some biryani, just a bunch of curries as well. But yeah, that is the inside of it. There's it's not that big, obviously, and like I was saying, it's more of a fast food place, but you can eat inside. But it's very popular to eat in your car after like parties and stuff. This is where the locals come and grab a quick midnight snack. Thank you. All right, so here is the iced Milo, and it's not just milk and Milo. They actually put some like chocolate ice cream in here, and then it's filled to the top with powdered Milo, if you can see that. All right, so let's go ahead and try it. So sweet and creamy. It's honestly like an almost overbearing sweet, but it tastes so good, so malty and chocolatey. And then you get little bits of the Milo powder that's at the bottom, and it tastes so good. All right, so here's our food. Kind of took a while. Comes on a real plate with a spoon and a knife, and then also a bunch of raw onions and roast chicken on there. And there's also a bunch of gravy at the bottom that it's slathered with. But yeah, this roti is super crispy, and it's a texture that I really love. All right, let's go ahead and try this. Let's get a piece of this chicken. And chicken doesn't look super dry either. Yeah, it's actually really well-cooked chicken. It's not dry even though it's white meat. And now let's try some of this crispy roti here. You can kind of hear it. All right, so here it is. It's got a bunch of egg and then huge like globs of cheese on the inside. But it all starts here. The first thing that hits you is the taste of butter. There's so much butter, and I guess that's how they make it so crispy. Let's go in for a bite with the egg. That's so good and salty. And now let's get some with the onion and chicken. All right, let's go ahead and try this now with some onion and the chicken. Yeah. It's such a heavy meal, because you got that buttery roti and then the fried chicken or roasted chicken. It's super oily, and then the onions help you cut it down. It really works well together for how simple it is. And this chicken is just so much better than I thought it'd be. It's so juicy. Even though you saw it sitting out there, it's still really well cooked. And obviously you can see why this is popular with people who want like a midnight snack after going out and stuff, because it's heavy and it's oily and it tastes really good. Anyways, guys, this was the first place. It's a little bit cheaper than the rest of the places we're gonna go to. And also, they're open 24/7. So if you're ever looking for a place to come and eat when everything else is closed, you will not be disappointed by this place. And now, on to the second restaurant. All right, so here we are at our second restaurant, Cafe on the 5th. All right, so this is more of a sit-down place, and while they don't have like traditional kind of a street food vibe, they still serve all those things, and it's still really good. And along with like your traditional Sri Lankan foods, they've also got like fried rice and hot butter cuttlefish, obviously, and like clay pot rice. So there's different sorts of things you can try here, like even Chinese and Mongolian and some Indonesian dishes. But we are actually here to try some Sri Lankan food. All right, guys, so I had to wait a couple minutes because they actually only serve their Sri Lankan foods after 4 p.m. So just in case you want to come here, make sure you come after 4 p.m. or you're only gonna get like their Mongolian and Chinese foods. So I just ordered and I got a roast chicken kottu and a chicken curry with some godamba roti. And I also got a lime soda, which is a pretty popular drink here in Sri Lanka, and it's basically just lime juice and soda with some sugar in it. All right, guys, so our food is finally here, and here's the roast chicken kottu, the chicken curry with skin still on, which I appreciate, and then the godamba, which is basically like a paratha or a roti, but it's like really stretchy and rubbery and elasticy, and it works really well when you dip it in some curry. All right, so let's try a bit of this godamba. Ooh, and you can hear it, it's crispy and warm and nice. And there's two of them in here. Oh, look at that. And then this is basically what they chop up and mix with some of that to make that, which is, I'm sure you've heard of. It's the chicken kottu. All right, so let's get some of this gravy in here. Piece of chicken. And there we go. Yeah, so check out how elasticy this is. Look at that. Thank you. And gotta dip some in here, like so. And that is as close to a perfect bite as it gets. The chicken curry is nothing special, but the roti is the best part of this meal because it's so authentic, so stretchy, so elasticy. I mean, I could just eat it on its own. And so this is a pretty good place to come if you want to kind of not risk it with the street food vendors. They do the basically the same thing here with a little more, I guess, maybe quality of ingredients, and you know it's a little more fresh as well. And not that the street vendors aren't good. I mean, I've never gotten sick from them, but yeah, if you didn't want to risk it, you got kids and stuff and you want them to try some Sri Lankan food, this is a good option to come. The place is beautiful, it's safe. It's actually right next to the current Prime Minister's house. So with these godamba rotis, you can also get like egg inside them. They fold an egg in here, and those are pretty good too, but personally I like the plain ones just because you lose some of that texture when you add the egg into it, like this very elasticy texture. All right, so let's go ahead and try it with some of this chicken now. Just gotta break it in. It's really kind of them to leave the skin on, slathered in some gravy. Oh yeah, it's so good, and it's such a simple meal. It's easy to eat, and it's not too overwhelming. So I think that's kind of why I like it, is the simplicity of it. Also, I got one more thing which you have to try when you're in Sri Lanka, is the lime soda. It's basically just lime and soda. And this one here is the best one I've had because they put a pretty good amount of syrup in there. So this is the chicken kottu. Basically how they make it is they take the godamba rotis that I was eating earlier, they chop it up with some onions, some green onions and carrots, and then chicken, and add gravy onto there and kind of stir fry it. And that's how you make kottu, but it's obviously, you know, a lot harder, and not every place can get it right. All right, let's dig in here with a nice chunk of chicken. Let's get some of that, some of the kottu. All right, here we go. Yeah, this one's really good with the roast chicken. and you get a nice curry flavor, and there's just so much flavor with the green onions and the onions. And I think a good koktu starts with a good godamba, and they have that here. So yeah, the koktu itself is really good just because of that base ingredient. And then you can also put some gravy on there if you want. I like mine a little drier. Personally, I'm not a fan of the kind of wet koktu, and that usually tends to happen with the cheese they use as well. So I stay away from that. But they've got all kinds, and cheese koktu is a very popular option, just not for me. In my time here, I've had a couple koktus, and I'll tell you what, it sounds simple, but I have had a few disappointing koktus while I've been here, especially at the fancy hotel buffets. Yeah, so guys, this was Cafe on the 5th. Really cool place, really nice vibes out here, and their food is even better. It's a really good place to come if you are with a family and kind of want a safer environment, still kind of chill, but don't want to break the bank. And also, it's pretty famous around here, so not going to risk kind of getting sick or anything. If that might be a problem for you, this might be your best option. Alright guys, I'm gonna finish this up and then I will catch you at the next restaurant. Alright guys, we are back at the Old Dutch Hospital for our last restaurant of this video. And it's actually right next to the Ministry of Crab over here, and it's called Salon Curry Club. So they do a kind of like Sri Lankan fusion style food here. I've heard it's very good, so we're gonna go ahead and try it. Alright, so they got some really cool drinks that are very Sri Lankan, like a wood apple martini, and then they also got this, which is I think like a traditional leaf used in Sri Lankan cooking, and they got a drink made out of that. And they also have a lot of arak drinks, which is the local alcohol. But yeah, really cool drinks menu too. Alright, so they brought us a welcome cinnamon tea. Now let's go ahead and try it. It's very cinnamony and it has quite a bit of sugar. Pretty good. Alright, so I got a wood apple martini, which is rum, and then wood apple, which is a fruit found here in Sri Lanka, and then topped with some coconut cream. So let's go ahead and try this. It's really good and fruity, and you get a strong wood apple flavor. Not sure what the coconut cream's doing, but the wood apple mixed with the rum actually really works, because you know, rum goes really well with tropical flavors, and that's kind of what wood apple is. Alright, so we got some prawn vades here, and it's kind of like the done up version of what I had at the Galle face in an earlier video. This looks a lot fancier, and it looks really good, and it comes with like a little chutney that you eat it with. Alright, so let's go ahead and try one of these, and I'm gonna put a little bit of this chutney on there. Then dip it in here. It's really spicy, but the inside isn't too hard. It's been cooked perfectly and a little bit like kind of mushy, which you don't really get because usually they're over fried till like the inside's also just really fried up. But I really like the texture of this a lot more. And you can see a little bit of the prawn there. It has a super salty, super fried, and the prawn is very fresh. It's probably the best one I've ever had, and the quality of the ingredients really shows. That chutney is kind of mint and cooling, so it kind of helps you cool off the spiciness of this. Alright, so we got another appetizer, and it's kind of this seafood platter that comes with prawns and some calamari, and it looks like some kind of fried fish too. And it looks really good. The only thing about this is the prawns still have their shell on them. But let's just go ahead and try some. Alright, so I got the skin off and let's try it. It just looks like it's been kind of stir fried in some chilies, but there's a lot of seasoning on there. That's pretty good. Not as good as the vades, but still pretty good flavor. Unfortunately, the skin is left on, which I'm not a huge fan of, but here in Sri Lanka, I've noticed that a lot of restaurants do it. Let's go ahead and try some of this, I think, fried fish. The fried fish is really good. And I forgot to dip it. They got this kind of spicy curd dip. But let's go ahead and dip this calamari in there and see how it tastes. Calamari wasn't that good, but the sauce that they give you is kind of like the sauce they give you with the biryani, the yogurt base, and it's really cooling because some of this stuff is kind of spicy. All right, now let's try this whole fish that they have here, and I'm not gonna lie, it looks pretty intimidating. Yeah, so I'm not a huge fan of fish like this, but it's been whole fried with the bones in and everything head on, so I'm guessing you can just take a bite out of it. Let's try it. That's actually not too fishy. It's been fried so much, you can't even tell that there's bones in here or anything. Just kind of all crunchy. I was not expecting to like this whole fish, but I think that might be the best thing on this seafood appetizer platter that they gave us. All right, guys, so our entrees arrived and they look incredible. So this is the chicken skewers, and they come hung up like this, which is really cool presentation over like a hot coal down there. It comes with like a peanut sauce and I think another yogurt sauce, and also a Colombo roti. And then over here we got the beef Wellington over like a Sri Lankan style, like fried potato with kind of chilies and onion and a whole garlic. And it also came with these little two buns, these cheese buns that have something in it, I believe. Looks like onions and eggplant. And then it also comes with a gravy. So actually the beef Wellington on the inside is a kind of Sri Lankan style beef. So it's got like a curry seasoning on it. All right, so let's go ahead and cut into this beef Wellington and see what it looks like. It's a little tougher than I was expecting, but that pastry is very flaky. And there's the beef Wellington. It's a little over, but let's go ahead and try it. And there's like a kind of duxelle in here, but it looks more Sri Lankan style because I see some green in there, and I can smell that kind of curry seasoning coming off the beef. All right, without gravy for the first bite. So the beef is kind of tough. I'm guessing they can't use like the tenderloin that you would traditionally use because that would cost a lot, and it's really hard to import kind of those luxury goods into Sri Lanka at the moment. But it's still flavorful. It's a little fibrous, and there's like a little thin line of fat, and I'm sure with the gravy it'll solve all that dryness. So let's go ahead and pour this gravy sauce on here. All right, so the gravy is actually like more of a curry sauce, and it kind of works in this because the beef is also seasoned in that way. The sauce for the beef is really strong, very salty, and yeah, it's more of a curry is what it is, but it works really well. I like it, especially with the kind of Sri Lankan style yellow potatoes. It's really good. It's such a unique dish. I wish the beef was kind of high quality, but overall it's really good. And the entire fusion of kind of English and Sri Lankan really works here, especially with the sides of potatoes and kind of the green beans. But yeah, this is the beef Wellington. Obviously it's on the more pricey side, and the only complaint I have about it is kind of the dryness of the beef, but the puff pastry and everything around it is really good. All right, let's go ahead and try this skewers. I love the presentation on it. Let's grab one of these. Something like this. Try it plain without any sauce on here. Those are really good. It tastes like it's been fire roasted, and the seasoning on here is not too bad either. It's like a green chili seasoning. Not too spicy. Let's try some with the sauce. The peanut sauce is just like your traditional satay sauce. I'm not a huge fan of peanut sauces, but yeah, that's just what it is. Let's try this white sauce next. That white sauce is a lot better and works really well with this. It's kind of like a garlic aioli, and it's very cooling for this dish too, because you got some green spices on here that aren't too spicy, but with this kind of like aioli, it really kind of brings it all together. Let's try some of this Colombo roti. And I had some of this early at Cafe on the 5th, and this one is not even comparable to that. I mean, it just breaks too easily. It's too thick, and I already know it's not going to be as good. But let's try some. Yeah, it's too thick, and it's more of a paratha than it is a traditional Sri Lankan roti. So Cafe on the 5th wins that one for sure. Theirs was really good and authentic. All right, so let's go ahead and make a little taco out of it here. Let's grab a piece of chicken. Put that in there. Then we'll grab some of the white sauce on here. Then also some of this Sri Lankan pickles that was also served with it. And it looks like it has some mustard seeds in it, and then maybe some turmeric to make it yellow. And it's actually strands of raw papaya. So really interesting, but let's go ahead and try that. All of those flavors work really well together. The fattiness of the chicken really works well with like the pickled papaya, and then eating it all rolled up like this, it's really good. And look how juicy this chicken is. You can go ahead and skip the Wellington. Maybe if you're here in a better time and they can actually source the good cuts of beef, it's worth it. But right now it's just a little too dry for me. The flavor's there, it's just the quality of beef really lets it down. But definitely go ahead and get this because it is so worth it, and the chicken's so good. All right guys, we just got done with our entrees, and one thing you'll find in Sri Lanka here is that they give you these bowls to wash your hands in, which is really nice of them. So you don't have to tediously go walk to the bathroom to wash your hands. Anyways, we're just waiting on dessert now, and it's kind of a unique dessert. It's a baked curd, which I've never heard of, but yeah, let's try it. All right, so this is baked curd, and he said it tastes completely different to the regular curd, which is obviously not baked. It also comes with a side of the palm sugar, and apparently it tastes really different, and of course the presentation is really good. Alright, let's go ahead and try this out. You know what, that is completely different. It's gotten like harder, creamier, and kind of the sourness of it is gone, which is the thing that puts people off mostly. That's really good. Some more tartness, and it's so easy to eat, so you don't even need that much of the treacle. Kind of candied nuts, it looks like. It's kind of like a whipped yogurt in between like whipped cream and yogurt, and it's so good. I could eat it on its own, really. Alright guys, so that is the end of our Sri Lankan food tour here, and what a place to end it at. So all three places were totally worth going to and totally unique in their own way, but if I had to pick one, it'd probably have to be Salon Curry Club, just because you can get your traditional items as well as some awesome and unique menu items as well, like the beef Wellington, even though I'd probably skip that one, but I don't blame them. I think it's just a product of this time right now. But the skewers were really good and really cool looking. The presentation here was excellent. The service was even better. And then the ambiance of this restaurant, it's got an old world kind of charm to it, built in this old Dutch hospital here in Colombo. Anyways guys, all three of those places were really good and you have to try them. It just depends on what you want. But thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment, and make sure you hit that bell icon so you know when I post next. And until then, have a great day.